1470 AM and 95.3 FM, the Health and Wealth Radio Network. Tune in for spiritual downloads with your host, Anna Stevenson, Saturdays at 4 p.m. WNN.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Talk 1470 is WWNN Pompano Beach and 95.3 FM W237BD Boca Raton, the Health and Wealth Radio Network.
Darren College, a former NFL Super Bowl champion, signed the most important contract of his life to serve in the Army National Guard.
I've had a lot of military in my family. It's a big part of what my family's done for a long time. I want to go out there and make a difference. I didn't find that working behind a desk, so for me it was a pretty easy decision to make. And then the opportunity to serve my community and serve my country was just icing on the cake.
To learn how to be part of the Army National Guard, log on to nationalguard.com. Sponsored by the Florida Army National Guard. Aired by the Florida Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Now you can get Talk 1470 WNN on 95.3 FM too. Loud and clear, Health and Wealth Radio, WNN.
The opinions expressed on the following sponsored program are strictly those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors.
Congratulations on your engagement and welcome to Wedding Talk with your host, Steve-O. Wedding Talk is a show where we give you peace of mind through your chaotic excitement of the wedding, where we have professional vendors weekly to discuss their services, experiences, and to answer any questions you may have to help create your dream wedding. To be part of our show, call in at 888-565-1470. Now let's go to the show.
All right, welcome, and happy Memorial Day. I do want to take a minute to express my appreciation for all the vets out there and their families that have that fought for us and what makes our country so great. So thank you very much. Happy Memorial Day. So this is my Memorial Day look because I need a haircut. And speaking of hair, today's guest specializes in hair and makeup. I want to sit there and just tell you a little bit how I met her. This is why I love what I do, because I meet such interesting and exciting people, and it's such a positive vibe that goes on. So I met her because I was given the honor to be her DJ at her wedding. And she had a very unique wedding because we had the ceremony, which you might have seen a few weeks ago, on a baseball field. Which was really cool, and then we partied out in Delray Golf Club. So I want to introduce you to Nikki Lane. Nikki Lane, thank you for coming on to the show.
Hi, Steve. Thank you for having me today.
Awesome. So this is going to be a topic where, as you can tell, especially men, get closer to your mic, okay? We don't know much about hair and makeup, so we're going to ask a lot of questions. But this is a highly anticipated show because I've had a lot of brides inbox me. Knowing that you were coming on because I've announced it a couple of times. So I do have some questions from some brides. But before we get into the questions, how long have you been doing this? What inspired you to do this?
Well, I feel like I've been doing hair my whole life. I remember when I was a teenager and I was in high school, I was doing everybody's hair and makeup for homecoming. It was something I always had a passion for. I love the art of it, the creativity behind it. I did have that traditional family that said you had to be a doctor or a lawyer. So I do have a lot of degrees. I'm a very well-educated hairstylist, but nevertheless, this is where I ended up. I am now a master stylist, and I work full-time. And, behind the scenes, I consult with brides, and we get them the look that they would like to have for their wedding.
Now, I have to ask because your hair was very unique in your wedding. Did you do your own?
I did not.
Okay.
The concept was mine. I wanted these little jewels in my hair, but I didn't want a bunch of hairspray in my hair. So my hairstylist, who I actually used to teach with her, she didn't know what to do. So I got this really cool idea that I would order magnetic earrings and stick them in my hair. And everybody thought I was crazy, but it worked like a charm.
Yeah.
So,
Wow, you would never, I mean, looking at it, I never would have thought. But it was gorgeous. So, hair and makeup, right? You do makeup as well. So I guess, what's the new fad? I mean, you know, we kid around on the show on the Brooklyn Cafe TV, and we, you know, the other day, I brought in a big can of Aquanet from, you know, like back in the day, and we all laughed and stuff because, like, I grew up on that. Coincidentally, my mother, I think I told you, my mother was a hairstylist. But she used tons of Aquanet. But I know that's out and about. So what's new that brides, especially brides, let's go on brides, and we could talk about different other things. But
I mean, every bride is different. Kind of the trend that I'm seeing lately is the messy look. Everybody wants the messy bun, the messy updo. And it's funny because it's actually not very messy to do. It takes some time to make your hair look messy on purpose. You know, really natural makeup with a lot of highlighting, contouring. A lot of people are doing the lash extensions these days, which gives a really full appearance without, you know, doing as much heavy eyeliner and having to wear mascara, because we brides tend to cry on the day of. So the less makeup that could turn us into raccoon eyes, the better.
Now, that's very time consuming too, the eyelashes.
It is.
Because I did a wedding not too long ago, and the bride was almost 45 minutes late to the ceremony because she couldn't get her eyelashes right.
You know, this is one of those things, and when I get the opportunity to meet with a bride, you know, ideally 6 months before the big day, I like to talk about goals, because I've had brides that all of a sudden just have, you know, really dark brown hair and decide I want blonde beachy waves for my wedding, and I have to say to them, unless you want fried hair for your wedding, like, that's just not going to happen. But 6 months ago, had we made this decision, then it could happen. You know, so I like to come up with a plan, how we're going to get from where you're at now to put you in the best look possible, how you envision yourself. And it's not just hair. It's, you know, it's how are you going to diet? You know, because a diet is a big part. Toxins release through your skin. So if you're not eating correctly and you're not sleeping properly, you could have skin problems during your wedding. Your hair could not grow as much. It could fall out. It could thin. So there's a lot of different considerations to think about when you want to look your best on that day.
You know, and we share a similarity because just like you about collecting the information and kind of like, you know, I always say that, you know, what I do is kind of like an artist because I take your vision and kind of paint it to your guests. So Christy is sending a question in. So how far in advance do you think a good time frame is for them to book an appointment with you to go over that?
Oh, at least 6 months. I mean, that would be ideal. And I know that's not possible in every case. I think that as with anything, you have to have realistic expectations. So the less in advance that you're able to really make that appointment and have that consultation, kind of your expectations might have to be brought down a little bit because you may not be able to achieve what you'd really like to achieve.
Okay. So Stacy wants to know if you do a trial run before the wedding.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And I like to do a trial run because it's like with interviewing. You know, if you're hiring somebody for a job, you know, everybody comes in with their best foot forward. And you very rarely realize that someone isn't a good fit until they've worked with you for a little while. And at that point, it may be too late. So a trial run is good because just because we hit it off in an interview doesn't mean that creatively our visions are the same. Because I think what I think and the way that I think is a lot different than how you may think about hair. So, you know, I love when brides bring me pictures, you know, because then I can visually see where someone is at. It's just like I love when I'm working in the salon and someone comes in and says, well, I would like to have my hair red. Well, what kind of red? Well, I don't know, red. And so I have to bring out the book because there's 100 different shades of red. You know, and it's the same with a bridal look. You know, do you want sweeping bangs? Do you want your bangs down? Do you want them pulled back? I mean, there's all different ways that a look can go, and so you really get to discover that when you get to have that one-on-one time during a trial, and sometimes multiple trials are necessary. So
that's why far in advance. I mean, 6 months is probably minimal then, if we're including a trial run per se. Because I'm sure, I mean, again, I could assume, but everyone's hair is different. Everyone's hair reacts differently.
I mean, even with the trial that I had for my wedding, you know, the lady that did my hair she's an absolutely amazing stylist, a makeup artist. I mean, she's top notch. But you know, I explained to her what I wanted, and in hairdresser terms, you would think it would be a lot easier, that we would connect a little more on that plane. And you know, she does curls in my hair, and after she's done, I have to say, oh no, well, I need you to curl all these this way, and I need this to be a little like this, and you know, this part of my makeup I don't really care for. I need you to do it a little bit differently. And maybe I'm picky, but you know what? I was a bride, and everyone said to me, it's your day. It's supposed to be exactly how you dreamed of. Because let's face it, most of us girls have planned this day since we were 5 years old. You know, we played with Ken and Barbie, and, you know, they got married together, and it was just something that we always knew was going to happen, and we dreamed about it. So it should be nothing less than spectacular and everything that you want.
You know, and I can share, because we do become our worst critics in our field. I mean, for me, for instance, me and my wife will go to a wedding or whatever, and I'll listen to the DJ to see, oh man, I can't believe he's playing that song with that song, and you know, oh, he didn't announce this. But so I could definitely understand where you're coming from, as far as, you know, I don't know, call it picky, but we know how to do things and how we like to have them done. So Rondi wants to know, do you work on location?
I do. It's necessary.
Right.
I mean, there have been times where, you know, bridal parties will shuffle into the salon and everybody's got their cute little robe on, and we make it work. But, you know, the intimacy of, you know, and the experience of the bridal party, having that space and that time together, you know, there's something that's truly special about it. And like I said, it's intimate. So I like the idea of going on location. So that's a little more private. Sometimes the photographers, the videographer will come in there and, you know, make a nice little video of the bride getting her makeup done or everyone getting their hair done. And it turns out really nice on the videos when they do that.
Well, plus I think it's more relaxing that way. There's no running around and worrying about, you know.
Oh, yeah, because, you know, for me, I'm glad that I had that space, because there was a moment, a brief moment, where I bridezillaed, yes, in front of everybody, because of an incident.
I missed that.
You did.
I wasn't around for that.
I'm glad you weren't. It happens, you know, but, and that's the time that it's going to happen, because that's like right before go time, you know, and that's when, if something isn't coming together right, that's when you're going to find out about it, because that's when it's all happening. So if I had done that in a salon, I probably would have been asked to leave, which wouldn't have been good.
Oh my goodness, we're getting tons of questions. So Daisy, she did answer this one. Daisy wanted to know if she should bring pictures in when she comes into UC, so she did answer that already. Okay, so here's who's this? Rona, I hope I'm saying that right. If I change my mind about my bridal beauty look, is there a charge for a retrial?
Yes.
Okay.
Every time there's a trial, we charge. You know, it's not because we're money hungry. It's because everyone's time is money, and we are professionals. So, right. you know, we do the free consultations initially, and in any profession, it's like that. You generally get a free consultation, but any actual work that we perform, there is a charge, yes.
Now, how much time, per se, do you feel, because I would say in weddings that I've done, the average bridal party would consist of maybe 6 to 7 girls, right? So obviously with 6 to 7 girls, you'd probably bring someone to help you, right?
It may be a whole team.
Okay.
You know, it just depends on how many people there are, what our time frame is. So it could just be, generally it would be myself and one other person, minimum. But it could be up to 4 or 5 people, depending on, you know, whether mom and grandma and flower girl and, you know, mother of the groom, whoever else is in there, that's getting their hair done. I mean, I've seen up to like 17 people, you know, need hair and makeup done because it was bridesmaids, and then there was a couple friends that the bride wanted their hair done. You know, I mean, so it just really depends.
How long roughly do you think one head takes you? Of course, it depends on what they're doing and everything else.
It really does. I mean,
on approximate
30 to 40 minutes.
Okay, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we do, you know, we based on kind of the styles. I even like to have pictures of the bridesmaids in advance with like their hair down, and then I do a thing where I like them to kind of shake their hair because I like to see how much hair they have. And the reason is because us brides, we're very picky, so we want everything just so. But one thing that brides really have to take into account is who their bridal party is, because not everybody has the same kind of hair. So not everybody's hair can go in the same style. If, for example, in my bridal party, every single person had a slightly different hairstyle because all of them had different hair texture. You know, so you have to work with what you have, and again, back to the pictures, you know, in the consultation in advance, when we know those kind of things, we can make those plans and we can really come up with something in the vision rather than at the last minute, 5 girls show up and we have to tell you that B and C can't have that kind of hairstyle because their hair isn't going to hold that kind of curl, or, you know, we're going to have to put 657 bobby pins in their hair and I'm going to have to charge you $100 extra. No, I'm just kidding.
Does brides really determine, like, how the other women wear their hair that day?
Absolutely.
Wow, that's interesting.
You know, you have some brides that they're like, you know, you're the professional, do what you do, I'm going to be happy. And then you have other brides where, you know, it's every little thing.
Wow.
And it's good and bad both ways, and no way is right or wrong. I personally like a little bit of structure from my brides because then we all have the best chance of everyone being happy in the end.
Wow. So we have a lot more questions to answer, but right now we're going to take a break from our sponsors. So we'll be right back with Wedding Talk.
Is your business accredited by the Better Business Bureau? Would you like to generate more leads and have extra exposure? If so, be part of our show at 561-503-6570. Again, that's 561-503-6570. Let's get your show on the road.
And welcome back to Wedding Talk. We're sitting here with Nikki Hair Day. So we are getting tons of questions. She's so informative. So we have one here from Jenna. Jenna wants to know, should she bring her veil and accessories to the trial?
It never hurts. You know, pretty much all veils go in the same. They have a little comb and they stick in the back of the hair, and we do a nice little, you know, back comb teasing thing to get it to hold the veil. So it doesn't hurt like if you have a different kind of veil, but it's not necessary now.
Well, I guess this is an A and B question. So the second question is, what kind of prep do I need to do before the trial?
Prep before the trial? I mean, nothing really, of course. Like, you know, have your pictures ready. Pinterest is great. It's good and bad. Sometimes it can be a hairstylist's worst nightmare. But, you know, I always tell people to go on Pinterest because you can search specifically on Pinterest and say makeup for, like, for instance, brown hair and green eyes, because certain color palettes go with certain eye colors better than others. And if you're not really, into sort of color theory and makeup artistry, you may not realize that that's the case. But yeah, you can specifically do that, and it'll show you just eyes. And that's what most people are concerned about when they do makeup. So I always suggest go on Pinterest, look at hairstyles. You can look for messy updos. You can look for, beach waves.
I never heard the messy updos.
It's all the rave.
Now I'm gonna go on Pinterest
I
and look
actually
at it and
had
see what it looks like.
a sister of a groom yesterday, and she came in and she said, "I want that, like, the sort of braid thing with a messy bun," and we did it, and it looked great. And those kind of hairstyles really don't take a lot of time. But where I said that Pinterest could be a downfall is that you have to realize that some of these photos are by big time artists, and they've spent lots and lots of time working on this particular look, time that you will not have before your wedding. And the other thing is, a lot of them are edited. So
right, like Photoshop.
May not look exactly
But all the filters
the way
they got
that
today.
it really looks like if you saw it in person. So, and that's where we get back to, we're going to keep our expectations realistic. We definitely can shoot for the stars, but if we land somewhere on the moon, we're fantastic. You know what I mean?
Right. Okay, so Rachel wants to know, are there any extra day of charges I should know about?
No, everything is up front. Whenever I meet with a bride and we decide what looks we're going for, that's when I will get with figure out how many people I need on my team, how far we have to travel, how long it's going to be. And there's a proposition that comes out. And so everything that happens, you'll know in advance. Now, if we show up the day of and you've got 3 additional people, then yes, that will be an extra charge. But that's the only kind of thing. Everything else is taken care of in advance.
Is there any special brand makeup you use that you prefer using, and the why behind it?
Well, I always ask my brides, and this is very important, and I'll tell you why, because I'm this kind of bride. I have the kind of skin that if you put the wrong makeup on my skin, in 3 hours I'll break out. So to me, when I had my wedding, I think my friend who's a makeup artist looked at me like I was crazy because, she wants to use her stuff, but she knows I'm in the profession, and that I'm not just, being a jerk, and that it is good makeup. But, so if that's the kind of case, then that's another thing we'll talk about in advance, because we want to talk about your skincare regimen, because I think brides, they want their skin to look perfect. They want it to look flawless. So, a month before, they see some blemish pop up and they're like, oh my gosh, I have to go to wherever, and they start using all these masks and all this thing. Well, what they're actually doing is creating more problems for themselves as far as their skin goes. So the important thing is to find a skincare regimen that works and go with it. I definitely recommend professional skincare regimens. I personally myself use Dermalogica, and I absolutely love it. They have an ultra calming, so it's really good. It's not harsh, and they have no added fragrances or chemicals in the product. As far as makeup goes, I work at Ulta Beauty, so I'm very well versed in all the professional makeup brands. I personally, it varies, because if you look in my makeup bag right now, I have IT Cosmetics foundation. I have a Tarte concealer. I use Too Faced eyeshadow. So it's just a lot of different, I benefit brow pencils. So it's really what works. So I like to have a pretty good selection. There are certain colors that like brides tend to stick to. And when we do the consultation and we go to the trial, of course, if there's something that I don't have and you want me to use personally, it's your wedding. I use whatever you want me to use. Mm-hmm. It's not for me to say, or I can get it. So that's good. I definitely have the access to get whatever it is that you need.
Okay. God knew not to make me a woman, because see all that you just mentioned is giving me just thinking about it. All right. So let's see. Tina wants to know, what happens if you fall ill on the day of her wedding?
Tina, I haven't missed a day of work in probably 3 years.
I was just going to probably answer that for you. We're not in the industry that we actually can get sick.
We said, ain't nobody got time for that, Tina.
It's not like we could say, I'm sorry, Miss Bride. Yeah, I'm not coming to the wedding. I'm got a stomach ache.
Listen, no, there was one day. It was a Sunday, and I had gotten food poisoning the night before, and I do not miss work on my clients. It's like, if somebody's coming in, nobody wants to not have their gray roots done. Like, it's a big deal. So I was in the middle of doing hair color, and I would have to say, excuse me, I'll be right back. And I was sick as a dog that day. But I put the game face on, you go, because that's what we do. I love what I do. I'm very passionate about it. And I just don't believe in, you don't leave people high and dry, and you especially don't leave a bride.
I was going to say, this is not your average customer service.
No, this is
a bride.
This is the day.
Right.
This
is the day. All right, so let's see. Michelle wants to know, do you offer hair extensions?
Oh, yes.
Yes, of course.
I highly, you know what? If you have shorter hair or fine hair, I highly recommend hair extensions. As a matter of fact, if you have fine hair, you will probably never want to take them out. I use a fantastic company. The hair can be used for up to a year. It's very good, quality Remy human hair. They're not outrageously expensive to do, as compared to some prices I've heard from some salons. So yes, if that's something you're interested in, I recommend it. What I recommend is, if you want to do we can do clip-ins, that's fine. I'm not a fan of clip-ins, but if you want to do like the more permanent ones, like the tape-ins, I suggest that you do them probably about 6 or 8 weeks in advance, because chances are, if you're going on your honeymoon, you're going to have them in for a while. So I say do that, wear them for like a little bit, see if you can even tolerate them. And if it's, and that way we have time to do a trial in them.
Got ya. Where can they find your portfolio? Do you have a portfolio that they can see?
I have an Instagram. I'm sort of new to this. Like, I resisted it for a long time. I really did. I was like, I'm not doing that. But finally, I do have an Instagram at Softball Beauty 22. Softball like the sport, beauty like me, 22 like my softball number. So you can check that out. I'm posting more and more work all the time. And you can always PM me there with questions, and I'll be happy to get back with you, answer any questions. You can always drop by and see me. I'm at Ulta Beauty in Delray Beach, in the salon in the back of the store. I can answer your questions there.
2 brides just simultaneously asked, how can they book an appointment with you? Your phone number?
My phone number, 561-699-4978.
Ladies and gentlemen, one more time.
Nikki Lane, master stylist, and I would love to do your hair.
Guys, you heard it from her. That's Nikki Lane, best in the business. I've seen her work, and she's a lovely person to work with because I've actually worked for her. But anyway, Thank you for tuning into Wedding Talk. Wait to see next week. We have Rich Williams from Rich Photo Works. And I hope everyone has the rest of a good day of Memorial Day and a great week. I'll speak to you guys soon. Thanks for tuning in. Thank you all for tuning in to Wedding Talk. I hope you found this useful and made it easier for you in your big day. Please tag, like, share this video, and most importantly, tune in next week. But for now, enjoy your honeymoon and talk to you next time.